Alrighty, everyone. It has been quite a bit since we've done this creature of the week. Mainly because we keep having some obstacles and stuff that kept stopping us here and there. But anywho, we are finally back onto it. So, greetings, creatures and humans alike. I am MagiQDog, and on tonight's creature of the week, we shall be learning about. Scribble. Give me just a second. Okay. What the heck did I just grab? That's not me. Okay, scribble. Let me get rid of my tail. Well, get rid of my wings and then my tails. And here we go. We shall be learning about Nessie, aka the Loch Ness Monster. And I gotta say, it's actually surprising that it took us a bit to get to this creature. After all, it is a very famous creature. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But before that, if y'all want to support me and all that, check me out on the TikTok, on the Twitch, on the Twitter, main YouTube channel, Gaming React channel, and leave a like, follow, subscribe, notify, all that kind of stuff. Now then, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this class started. And also, at the end, I plan on asking y'all questions in case there's anything that I miss out, or if you got any questions about this creature. Now then, Nessie, or the Loch Ness Monster, is a lake creature told to inhabit the Loch Ness of Scotland, and is considered one of the most famous kinds of cryptids around. Appearances. The Loch Ness Monster is described as an aquatic creature of a different era. The main appearance is that of a plesiosaur, a kind of prehistoric sea animal back during the age of the dinosaurs. It has a small body, a long neck, and a large body. So, yeah, small, long, and large. The head is roughly described as like that of a horse or a turtle. It is said to have a short tail and got 4 paddle-like flipper appendages used for swimming. The body's got a hump on the back. Its colors vary from gray to green and even in a blackish color as well. Now, of course, I don't really need to describe it all that much, seeing how famous this creature is. Role in mythology. Or Rose, my bad. Nessie, or the Loch Ness Monster, is considered one of the most famous kind of cryptids ever told alongside Bigfoot, and it has become a symbol of cryptozoology. It is a lake monster that resides within the Lake Loch Ness of Scotland. The first ever documented case of the Loch Ness Monster was that of the account of Saint Columbus of August 22nd of 564 AD. He told of an account of him banishing a water demon from the river Ness as it tried to devour a person. This sighting started to appear in the 19th century. It wasn't until in the 1939 when a surge of sightings and accounts of Nessie started to emerge, leading up to the famous surgeon photo of the Loch Ness, although this photo is now considered a hoax. Regardless of that, this led to the popularity of Nessie and cryptozoologists to start investigating into the Loch Ness Monster. Since then, sightings have continued to be told of people seeing the Loch Ness Monster even up to today. As for what Nessie does, it's pretty much as told as a lake monster that would stay on the surface of the water for a little bit before submerging back into the depths of the loch. It is believed that she eats mainly fish from the loch, but some speculated that she might even eat some livestock or people if given a chance. But there is no documented case except for the 564 AD account. Now, other than that, people believe Nessie to act like a plesiosaur, or an unidentified marine animal that has adapted to the life on the loch. Wait. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add that right there. Hang on, we're going to give this a second. That way y'all can see this right here. Yeah, I had to do 2 different things because the stupid Texas stuff kept cutting out parts if I try to add all that. Okay, that's enough. Other lake monsters. Now, Nessie is considered the top dog or lake monster when it comes to creatures of lakes. I wouldn't be surprised if the term lake monster actually came from the Loch Ness Monster itself. However, Nessie isn't the only lake monster. In fact, it isn't even the only lake monster that's described as a prehistoric creature either. Plenty of lakes and rivers around the world have their own version of Nessie or something similar. So let's look into some of Nessie's cousins. First off is Champ or Champy. It is a lake monster that lives in Lake Champagne or Champlain? Well, either way, it's a lake in New York and Vermont. And like Nessie, it is a plesiosaur kind too. The Bear Lake Monster of Utah is described as a 50-foot long serpentine creature with short legs and a crocodilian head, giving it like a mosasaur or prehistoric croc-like appearance. Bessie is another American lake monster of Lake Erie of Ohio and Idaho. It's described as a 30 to 40-foot serpent creature that has been sighted since 1793. The Manipogo is a Canadian lake monster of Lake Manitoba that is told as a brownish serpent around 12 to 50 feet long with a sheep-like head. Another plesiosaur lake monster is Japan's own Issie that lives in Lake Akita. Lake Tainchi monster is a lake monster in China that has been spotted in groups. They are described as seal or turtle-like. Lukwata, a creature that I've actually talked about in a previous Creature of the Week, which I'll leave a link in the description below, is a plesiosaur or serpent-like creature of Lake Victoria of Uganda. The Muckie is a mysterious lake monster of the lakes of Kittery of Ireland. And finally, the famous Ogopogo of Canada is just as famous as a lake monster just as Nessie itself. So Nessie isn't alone when it comes to not just lake monsters or even other plesiosaurs like as well. I apologize, I kind of butchered that up a bit. Powers. Now, Nessie isn't really known for having or displaying supernatural powers. Since it's mostly a cryptid, it's mainly believed to be an unknown animal of the source. However, Nessie should have some natural abilities that we can list off. The main one is plesiosaur physiology. This means it's got powers and abilities of a plesiosaur since it's mainly described as one. Water adaptation, elongated neck, fish catching, and enhanced high-speed swimming and diving. These abilities are pretty much a given. Another given power is lake and freshwater adaptation. Since it's always spotted in Loch Ness, or River Ness, it lives an adapted life of lake and lochs and rivers. It's also got a large body, which grants it enhanced physical abilities like weight, strength, and durability. And finally, with how evasive Nessie is, it's got evasive and non-detective abilities, whether it be like living in an area people don't know of, or diving down whenever people get too close. Regardless of not having much magical powers, these natural abilities help make up for Nessie's abilities. Weaknesses. However, along with natural abilities, the Nessie should also have natural weaknesses too. First off is the fact that it's a living creature, and as such, can die. It might take a bit due to Nessie's large size, but one should be able to attack and kill a Nessie with weapons and traps. Another weakness should be land. While Nessie should be able to walk up on land due to its plesiosaur-like large body, it should be very slow and awkward on the ground. This can also explain why many sightings are mainly in the water or near the shores. And finally, this weakness was documented by St. Columbus himself, as he was able to scare away the creature by praying. Now, this doesn't mean that Nessie is a demon, but perhaps Nessie could be affected by a defiant speech, even if coming from a saint. Other weaknesses includes it needing to breathe, which is why it's spotted at the surface, restrictions within the loch and waters, and even population, since there aren't that many sightings of more than one or two Nessies. These weaknesses should limit Nessie from coming after you. Let's see. Now, before we get started on our next section, I'm pretty sure an ad break is about to come up, so I'm going to take a little bit of a breather. And also going to take a bit of a drink too. So, yeah, y'all just hang on tight. Alrighty, class. Looks like everyone is back, So let us continue with our lesson. And our next lesson is cryptozoology. Out of all the creatures told as cryptids, other than Bigfoot of course, Nessie is considered one of the most famous and rightly the main lake-based cryptids ever told. We all should know at this point, but for a refresher, cryptids are considered animals and creatures that exist between being real and told as imaginary or mythical creatures. These creatures are told that because they are told in sightings and first-hand accounts while lacking evidence of them existing. And due to these cryptids, And because of these cryptids, cryptozoology exists. There we go, I finally spit it out. Cryptozoologists have pretty much adopted Nessie as their main symbol into the study of cryptids. As such, many investigations and research have been done to try to find Nessie and prove her existence once and for all. These scientists have also searched for possible explanations of what Nessie actually is. The most common theory is the Loch Ness Monster is a population of plesiosaurs that have survived the mass extinction and evolved to live in the loch. There are other theories as well. One is Nessie being a surviving bastiosaur, a type of prehistoric predatory whale that got trapped in the loch and adapted to live in the loch. Others think that Nessie is a sauropod that had adapted to life of the loch too. Other theories range from a rogue experimented mutant to even a plesiosaur crossing a space-time anomaly, and to a surviving Fugodon, to even a very large unidentified eel or leash species. Regardless of whatever Nessie is, it is a staple of the cryptid community that have had many visitors come to the lake to come and find her. Oh, hang on a second. There we go. Skepticism. However, as famous and popular Loch Ness Monster is, science and skeptics still refuse to believe in its existence. Scientists do not consider the possibilities of a plesiosaur-like creature living within the loch of Loch Ness. The main reasoning is as follows. First is the mere fact that plesiosaurs are extinct and have died off for 66 million years. The second fact is that plesiosaurs are mainly marine and sea-based prehistoric reptiles, although some fossils have shown that they can adapt to freshwater life. But even if the fact that a plesiosaur species might have survived, scientists still believe that there is no way a single loch could possibly keep a population of Nessie stable and keep them alive. Skeptics also believe in this as well, and try to discredit and disprove sightings as well. Common explanations can be explained as people misidentifying Nessie. Possible explanation of animals like seals, large turtles, or even large fish like a European eel could explain some sightings. Natural phenomena like waves might cause confusion for sightings. Other people discredit some videos and photos as fake and edited videos for popularity. But the most damning discredit to Nessie is actually the search and photo that made Nessie famous. After many analysis and studies, it's discovered to be a hoax photo and was explained as a circus elephant swimming in the loch, and its hidden trunk was the figure in the photo. And so a major line is drawn between the skeptics that don't believe in Nessie and those that do. However, I also want to point out the fact that Loch Ness might possibly hide an unknown animal. This is due to the fact that Loch Ness is a deep loch with some depths reaching around 230 meters or around 755 feet. The loch is also barely visible with zero visibility, my bad. The loch is also hold more water than all of Wales and England combined. And finally, the loch is connected to the ocean through River Ness and the Caledonian Canal. These facts might allow a possible beast like Nessie to remain hidden for so long. Popularity. As we already talked about before, Nessie is a symbol of cryptozoology and is one of the most famous cryptids in the whole world, other than Bigfoot of course. Nessie have appeared not just as sightings and videos in Loch Ness, but also in movies, TV series, cartoons, animes, books, games, and of course on platforms like YouTube too. In movies, the Librarian Durden movie had one being kept at the library. 1996 Loch Ness had an American scientist trying to disprove Nessie, only to encounter it that later ends him. Incident at Loch Ness movie had Rainer Herzog and his crew make a documentary of the monster, but they end up being haunted by the beast. Beyond Loch Ness had Nessie migrated from Loch Ness to Lake Superior in US. And the Water Horse, Legend of the Deep, had Nessie as a mythical-like creature where only one can exist at a time and befriend the main character, Alex Ito. By the way, that's a really good movie, y'all should go check it out. In TV series, Doctor Hood. Oh my god, Doctor Hood! I'm sorry. Anyways, Doctor Who got the Loch Ness Monster in Terror of the Saigons and time-lapse episode. Unsolved Mysteries had a few episodes of Nessie and her relatives. 1964 Stingray had a hoax Loch Ness Monster in an episode. Bewitched had Sam's cousin Serena's ex named Bruce, who was a Loch Ness Monster. Mystery Hunters had one of Aria's team go to Scotland to find evidence of Nessie. And finally, Jeremy Wayne's River Monster had a 2-hour special to find any animals that could explain Nessie, and he believes it to be the Greenland shark. Excuse me. For cartoons, Danger Mouse encountered a mechanical Nessie. The Scooby-Doo Loch Ness Mess movie had them chased by a fake Loch Ness Monster, but the ending suggests an actual one in the loch. South Park had Jeff's parents encounter one asking for money, apparently. I will admit that was a strange episode. SpongeBob SquarePants features a Nessie who got enraged over bagpipes and attacked Squidward. Real Monsters had one named Lucky who was a professional dancer and bagpipe player. Gargoyles had Goliath and his crew save a family of Loch Ness Monster from Dr. Silveris. The Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald had their final episode searching for one who was named Simon. And finally, Happiness, The Secret of the Loch, had a whole world of Nessies. Anime and manga also got Loch Ness Monsters, like Dun 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 with the alien Nessie, Momo, and Okaroon fought against, Digimon's Plesiosaur Mon, Digimon with Lapras, and one that Doraemon and his friends found in Japan. In games, Crypto Zoo Keepers features a mission to bringing in the Loch Ness Monster. Pokemon's got Lapras that's based on Nessie a bit, and Digimon's got Plesiomon as a Digimon. Lemmings got a level where you're on the back of the monster. Commander Key's third game got the Nessie-inspired Messi that the player could hop on his back. Jitsu Squad got a giant Nessie-like creature in the background when you cross a moat to get to Hellstorm's castle. Scales of the Death demo had Nessie as a customer. Mass Effect 3 had Shepard and EDI talking about the Loch Ness Monster, which is weird since it's an outer space game. Anyways, Sue Tycoon had Nessie as part of the Mythical Creatures group. And Loch Ness is a game where players can go to find Nessie, while Nessie will attack the players if they get too close. Even card games like Cryptids, Beyond the Legend, Magic the Gathering, and Yu-Gi-Oh's got Nessie-inspired cards. In books, The Bogart by Susan Cooper had Nessie as a type of Bogart and appears in the sequel, Bogart and the Monsters. J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them had them as a type of kelpies that become otter-like. The Illuminatus by Robert Sheehan and Robert Anton Wilson had a brief cameo of Nessie. The Loch by Stephen Alton had Nessie as a giant eel that loves eating tourists. Diana's Gabaldon's Outlander, had Claire seen the Loch Ness Monster on a few occasions and believed there's a time portal since she sees it as a plesiosaur. And finally, The World's Greatest Animals by the Cheruphant had a female Nessie named Leah. Let me start this over. And finally, the world's greatest animals by the Chiliphant had a female Nessie named Lena as the third cryptid the characters Jeremy or Chemaine and Monquete encountered. I am so sorry. She's also got kinetic powers too, by the way. Not to mention the Cryptids and Mythical Creatures books that tells of Nessies and her late cousins. Music for songs that features Nessie includes Loch Ness Monster by Big Dipper and The Cryptid Cafe by Shanae McGurn. In pro wrestling, Martin Ruin competed as Loch Ness in the Stampede Wrestling. And of course, platforms like YouTube's got videos that covers Nessie and the other lake monsters. And finally, let's end this off with the conclusion. Yeah. Wait, where's Nessie? Oh my goodness, did I make her disappear this whole time? Oh, now I'm sad. But anywho, let's end this off with a conclusion for our dear friend Nessie. When it comes to cryptozoology, Nessie is a foundation of cryptids alongside Bigfoot. Something about a plesiosaur-like animal living in the lochs of Loch Ness has captivated and inspired many tourists to go to take their own photos and videos of proof of her existence. And whether it's an actual lake monster or an animal misidentified, the Loch Ness Monster will continue to inspire those that wishes to find the unknown. And that concludes our creature of the week and of the Loch Ness Monster. So what do you guys think of Nessie? Do you think she's actually a plesiosaur? Do you think there's more than one Nessie in the loch? Would you like to ride on her hump? That sounds so wrong after I said that. Let me know in the comment sections whenever I load this up on YouTube. Alrighty, that pretty much concludes that. Now, let's see. I'm gonna give it like a minute for y'all in case there's anyone on here that wants to ask a question. So ask away. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna take my Sprite break. Excuse me? Alrighty. Well, I don't think anyone's got any questions for Nessie, so that pretty much concludes our class. Now, our next creature that we are going to be talking about, a type of sleep paralysis demon that pretty much sits on your chest. So y'all going to be excited for that. However, I will admit, we're probably going to wait on the creature of the week until I kind of get caught up with uploading videos on my YouTube channels. Because I will admit, I am a bit behind. And I have to wait for a certain video to get finished. But it should be finished this week. So, yeah. Just waiting on that to get done. Anywho, that pretty much concludes it. So with all that out of the way, thank you guys for coming on this fantastic Creature of the Week stream. I hope y'all had as much fun as I did, as we got to learn about Nessie and her Loch Ness ways. And if you wish to see more streams like these, check me out on my TikTok, on my Twitch, on my Twitter, on my main YouTube channel, and on my Gaming React channel, and leave a like, subscribe, notify, follow, and all that kind of stuff. And with that, I bid the show adieu. So see you guys. So long. Bye bye. Okay, bye.